Yield myself such time as I may consume. Americans do not trust Congress. From the highest levels of office, an elected member of this body enabled the fraudulent spending of $32 million out of the pockets of our American people and threw it down the drain to knowingly chase ghosts, all for political gain. This man occupied a position of the highest trust and authority. As chair of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff launched an all-out political campaign built on baseless distortions against a sitting U.S. president at the expense of every single citizen in this country and the honor of the House of Representatives. With access to sensitive information unavailable to most members of Congress and certainly not accessible to the American people, Schiff abused his privileges claiming to know the truth, while leaving Americans in the dark about this web of lies. Lies so severe that they altered the course of the country forever. The lie that President Donald Trump colluded with Russia to steal the 2016 presidential election, revealed to be completely false by numerous investigations, including the Durham report. The lie that the Steele dossier, a folder of falsified and since completely debunked collusions, accusations funded by the Democrat Party, had any shred of credibility. Yet Schiff read it into congressional record as fact. Lies concocted and compiled in a false memo that was used to lie to the FISA court to precipitate domestic spying on U.S. citizen Carter Page, violating American civil liberties. Not only was this egregious abuse of Schiff's privileged access to classified information, but this memo was littered with 17 major mistakes and omissions.
What went down in Congress today was absolute chaos, in the best way possible. Adam Schiff, the man who once ruled the House floor with confidence, got hit with a reality check when Anna Paulina Luna and Harriet Hageman stepped up and dismantled his legacy piece by piece. Their words weren't just political jabs, they were straight-up truth bombs. And for once it felt like accountability was alive again in D.C. So stick around, because this one's worth every second, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next storm that hits Capitol Hill.
Mr. Schiff exploited his position as chair of Intel Committee and every opportunity possible, threatening national security, undermining our duly elected president, and bringing dishonor upon the institution. Perhaps most unforgivable, Schiff ripped apart American families across the country with repeated false narratives. His own political good was served by permanently destroying family relationships and sowing lasting division across our land, which we live with every single day. The perpetrator of this web of deceit became mainstays on cable news, waking up every morning with one goal: to lie to the American people that there was a direct evidence of Russia collusion. Despite transcripts from Schiff's investigation showing that the Director of National Intelligence, former Obama Attorney General, and FBI Director, to name a few, went on record telling Schiff's committee that there was no direct evidence for his criminal conspiracy. Yet to this day, Schiff actively fundraises off of his exploitation of Americans, as if robbing them from the truth and $32 million in taxpayer dollars was not enough. Can anyone in this chamber comprehend this list of crimes and yet somehow believe that there should not be an answer for it? This is not a partisan act. This is not a conservative versus liberal vote. This is a clear vote between right and wrong, and I urge you to do the right thing. I will end with repeating with what I started with. The American people do not trust Congress. The cyclical pattern of lies has worn down the credibility of every institution and every official in the United States government. You see it, I see it. If we run away from this opportunity to hold this man accountable, there is only one fault, and that is of ourselves. We will betray the people who trusted us and sent us here to do the right thing. We will be responsible for the end of any shred of justice in this body, and we will reject the duty that we swore an oath to protect upon taking office. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlewoman reserves.
Gentlewoman from Wyoming, Representative Hageman.
Gentlewoman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I take my duties as Wyoming's lone congressional representative very seriously, and my obligation to be honest and trustworthy is the foundation of my ability to carry them out. This privileged resolution isn't about politics. It is about the seriousness of being honest and forthright as a member of Congress and upholding the oath of office that we all take upon being sworn in. It is true that the gentleman from California wouldn't be the first member of Congress to exaggerate or stretch the truth, but willfully lying about serious issues our country has faced is something entirely different, and claiming that a sitting president has committed what amounts to treason is beyond simple hyperbole. Lies led to the wasting of millions of taxpayer dollars for unnecessary investigations and the deflection of our attention from the most pressing issues at hand to focus on a made-up crisis. This member's actions were designed to delegitimize the 2016 election and to hamstring the Trump administration. For all the talk about not accepting the election results in 2020, perhaps Democrats and the media, which are mostly one and the same, might want to look at their actions in 2016. To make matters worse, this representative perpetuated these lies while he was chair of the House Intel Committee and consistently implied, if not outright stated, that he had inside information. In that capacity, he lied about how the FBI and DOJ obtained and renewed a FISA warrant. The FBI and DOJ officials did not omit material information from the FISA warrant. How the DOJ used the Steele dossier, what was collected via the FISA warrant, the FBI's vetting process for the Steele dossier, that he had an alleged smoking gun showing that President Trump colluded with Russia. And if each of these claims has proven to be false. But the lies have continued. In fact, they have become compulsive, and they continue right through to this very day. The lies weaken this body, and if left unchecked, threaten the rule of law, our election integrity, and the civil rights of his targets. The words and actions of this member were dangerous and untrue, knowingly untrue. There must be a serious consequence for that. Being censored is the least of what he should be subjected to, and I support this resolution.
What went down in Congress today was more than just a heated exchange. It was a full-scale reckoning against deception and corruption for years. Adam Schiff carried himself as the untouchable gatekeeper of Washington's secrets. The man who once shaped narratives from behind closed doors found himself cornered by truth in plain sight. Anna Paulina Luna stepped up with the confidence of someone carrying the weight of millions who felt misled. She laid out the record piece by piece, the Steele dossier. The FISA abused the carefully crafted falsehoods that convinced an entire nation to hate its own reflection. Her tone wasn't angry, it was surgical. Every word backed with facts and conviction. She said this wasn't about party lines, it was about integrity. And when she spoke those words, the entire chamber could feel the tension shift. Luna reminded everyone that the Durham report had already cleared Trump and proved the Russian collusion story was built on sand. But Schiff kept pushing. The lie kept using it to raise money and keep power. All while families at home argued, fought, and divided over something that was never real. That was her point. It wasn't just political damage, it was human damage. Then Harriet Hageman rose from Wyoming's bench. Calm, composed, and sharp as a blade. She didn't shout. She didn't grandstand. She simply delivered precision strikes that cut through the noise. She accused Schiff of something far worse than misjudgment. She called it a deliberate betrayal of public trust. She said when a man with classified access uses that privilege to manipulate the public, he's not serving democracy, he's exploiting it. She explained how Schiff claimed to have seen evidence that never existed, promising smoking guns that never fired, and destroying credibility that Congress may never recover from the silence that followed. Said everything you needed to know because for the first time in a long time, the truth wasn't being buried, it was being broadcast. Luna and Hageman stood united not as partisans but as truth-tellers. They declared that accountability isn't revenge, it's restoration, that without it democracy collapses from within. They turned the focus from Schiff's actions to the culture that enabled them, a system that rewards lies and punishes honesty. But today that system cracked. You could feel it. The air in that chamber grew heavy as realization set in. This wasn't just about Adam Schiff. This was about a government forced to confront its reflection. The very institutions built to protect truth had been used to twist it, and now that truth was fighting its way back into daylight. By the time the gavel struck, the sound wasn't just the end of a hearing, it was the beginning of a shift. Schiff looked defeated, not because of insults or politics, but because the mirror had finally been held up to his face. Everything he built on deception was now collapsing in public view. Luna and Hageman didn't just question him. They exposed a pattern of manipulation that reached far beyond one man. They reignited something that Washington had nearly lost faith in: accountability and moral courage. Their message was simple: truth still matters, and it doesn't need permission to be spoken. This wasn't political theater. This was justice in real time, the kind that reminds people why truth still has power in a city built on spin. So if you believe honesty still has a place in government, if you're tired of watching leaders lie and walk away untouched, stay right here because what happened today was only the beginning. Hit that subscribe button because the fight for truth is far from over, and the American people deserve to see every second of what comes next.